Our last song for the night is a cover. I hope you don't mind. The low, slow opening guitar chords were familiar, but I couldn't seem to remember the artist. Suddenly I realized it was Nirvana, Heart-Shaped Box. So for the first time that evening, I staggered to my feet and hobbled to the middle of the completely empty dance floor to dance. Life in the time of the COVID-19 virus plague 2020. Something that could be written by a Daniel Defoe or a Gabriel Garcia Marquez, Boccaccio, Edgar Allan Poe, instead of a bubonic plague or cholera or the Red Death. It is now the novel coronavirus, which has suddenly, slowly become the great leveler of our society in the second millennium. New York City celebrities flee the city for the perceived safety of the Long Island Hamptons in the off-season, to hunker down, shelter in place, to wait out the days, weeks, months, the death toll rising, just as the Tuscan Italian noblemen and ladies fled Florence for the perceived safety of their mountaintop villas 700 years earlier, to wait out God's scourge of the plague, exchanging their bawdy, ribald folk stories and erotic tales of ancient chivalry, which would become the volume of the Decameron. But just as death, following the knights and ladies to pose Mask of the Red Death, there will be no escaping the coronavirus of 2020. There's an invisible target in the back of my head, and the sniper is the COVID-19 virus. And it has me in its telescopic sight, ready to pull the trigger. I fit the demographic, I fit the description, and Detective Death has a mugshot with my mug on it. I've dodged one bullet too many. My number is up. I'm way past my expiration date. So I'm very fatalistic about my chances for surviving this pandemic. Some people are guaranteed to die, and I'm a walking, breathing statistic. So I've gone around, making my rounds among those who really matter to me, saying my goodbyes, making my peace, telling the people that I love them, that I'll miss them when I'm gone. Mo shrugged this off. Of course I love you, Big Mike, and I know you love me. You'll be all right. Don't worry. You'll be fine. Some take me more seriously. My second ex-wife, who I currently live with, recently lost her mother, so she went upstate to Rockland County with her youngest sister last week to care for her very elderly and very frail, recently bereaved father. She did not return. I'm not coming back. I'm going to stay up here for another week or so, help my father out. He's a lot worse than I thought, physically and mentally. He'll be 97 next month. When are you coming back? Another week? Maybe two. Maybe more. Maybe I should just hunker down here with my sister and father, shelter in place. You can do that down here. Yeah, but it's easier to do it there. You're over 65. You have pre-existing medical conditions, underlying medical conditions. You're right for coming down with the coronavirus. You've got bad lungs. I don't want to infect you. I don't want to see you die. Are you afraid of infecting me, or are you afraid of me infecting you? A little of both. I just got over the flu. They tested me for influenza B, and it came back positive. I had a fever last week. I was coughing my head off again. Maybe I'm already have the virus, so I'm staying up here for a couple weeks, maybe longer, maybe until this whole thing just blows over. She was always afraid of dying, obsessively so it's no surprise that this whole pandemic thing has really got her going. Me, I've lived with the death so long, it's just like a second nature to me now. I've placed scores of my patients in body bags over the 40 years working as a registered nurse all over New York. Patients who I was talking to one minute and inhaling their last, final exhale breath the next. Most people are 90% sure of their own mortality. I am 100% sure. So I decided to go out on the town last weekend. Perhaps the last weekend out of my last. Perhaps the last weekend out for the entire New York City. Turns out it was much more prescient than I ever imagined. Irresponsible of me, undoubtedly, yes, but I am going to die anyway. What else can they possibly do to me? Driving down these empty city streets, from inside a disabled, accessible taxi cab, looking out the window onto a completely, totally deserted Houston Street, I slowly come to the realization that this long-awaited zombie apocalypse we were promised for so many years by all those alien research lunatic fringe head cases, those fire and brimstone spewing southern cracker preachers on late-night AM radio, has finally arrived. Downtown Manhattan looks as though it's been hit by a Soviet-fired neutron dirty bomb. All the people have been killed by the deadly radiation, but all the buildings remain intact. Drive past the Pyramid Club on Avenue A, but it's shuttered. No Thursday night goth night? No black leather and lace-clad moping goth kids tonight? What gives? A handwritten note is taped to the wrought iron grillwork. In accordance with the recently enacted regulations concerning large crowds, the Pyramid Club will remain closed until further notice. Thank you to all our loyal customers over the years, Maria. Maybe I'll just have to settle for a late-night takeout menu of grilled American cheese on rye with French fries to go for the Waverly Diner on 6th Avenue. But at the last moment, I decided to head to the Bowery and East 2nd Street, the Bowery Electric. At least the DJ in the bar lounge there spins some good old rock and roll, R&B, and hardcore punk on his turntable. The DJ's outside in front of the club smoking a cigarette and chatting up some punk girl in a black leather miniskirt and platform-soled thigh-high black fetish boots. He throws me a high five. Hey, no more high fives, man. Now forearm bashes only. And absolutely, positively, categorically, no anal. I will try my best to restrain myself. We have 2 floors of bands tonight, downstairs and on this floor in the map room. You're also free to have a drink at the bar on this floor, $10. It's the annual New Colossus Fest, referring to the Statue of Liberty Emma Lazarus dedication poem. Garage bands from across the erstwhile far-flung British Empire, Canada, Australia, UK, Hong Kong, New Zealand, even Sweden, ranging in quality from the less than mediocre to the exquisitely shitty. In all, the New Colossus Fest was a colossal waste of my time, money, and energy. Hey, if the bands really suck, do I get my money back? No. Just wait till the band Jaguar Jones comes on stage, mate. They really rock. Great big fat white guy with a big fat gut, long gray hair, and a long white beard. Kind of looks like Big Fucking Mike. Must be one of the band members' father. Big Mike, you're here. Now I know that this is the place to be. I was just over at the Delancey, but the band I wanted to see there canceled. So I went over to Rockwood Hall, but the bands there had all canceled too. Even at Parkside Lounge, they canceled there too. The Mercury Lounge is shut, so I came over here. The last place on the face of the earth. I only wish I knew who he was. That facial recognition disorder of mine, which I share with Hollywood heartthrob Brad Pitt, is kicking up again. Something fierce. He obviously knows who I am, knows me by name. I have absolutely no fucking idea who he is. He's wearing an official hard plastic press pass around his leg, hanging from a lanyard, and he's got a Leica digital camera, and he's taking a bunch of photos of the band, so he must be somebody important, but I don't know who he is. I just don't know. Jaguar Jones takes the stage. They're merely less than mediocre. 6-foot-tall, anorectic, emo goth girl, lead singer, plays the flute like Ian Anderson of Jethro Tull, backed up by an Aussie heavy metal band. Great cheekbones, twin braided pigtails adorned with fur pom-poms like a Nordic warrior princess. Nice long legs and black hot pants. Tolerable singer. Our last song for the night is a cover. I hope you don't mind. The band backs her up with the familiar opening guitar chords of Nirvana's Heart-Shaped Box. Big Mike gets up off his ass for the first time that night, drags himself up into the erect position, hobbles to the middle of the completely empty dance floor, and starts headbanging away to the cover band's Kurt Cobain grunge rock guitar riffs. Hey, Wade, I got a new complaint. Hey, Wade, I got a new complaint. And then the miracle manifested itself right smack in the middle of the plague year of 2020. The Bowery Electric stage has a short runway projecting out onto the dance floor. Goth girl gets right up to the end of the runway, sticks her face right up into mine, only about 6 inches away, and sings Heart-Shaped Box from that stage's tiny runway in a solo serenade to me alone, all the while headbanging away in a perfectly choreographed synchronicity to my own headbanging moves. She was so close to my sweaty face, I was afraid for a while there that we were going to inadvertently headbutt each other right smack in the middle of our ecstatic headbanging revelry. We were so close that my long, sweaty blonde locks were whipping her face, and her warrior princess braids were whipping mine. Goth Girl really had the moves. The song ends, the crowd goes fucking nuts. If you can define the dozen or so spectators present at the Bar Electric that night as a crowd, and Big Mike retreats back to the hard wooden bench on the periphery of the dance floor in a panting, sweaty heap from whence he had perched himself all evening long prior to that sole ecstatic moment. Great big fat bearded long-haired old dude lumbers over and high-fives Big Mike. I told you, Jaguar Jones fucking rocks, didn't I, mate? He must have been Goth Girl's old well-intentioned Aussie dad. Weren't you worried about that whole social distancing thing with her sticking her face right up into yours? Nah, like I said, my number's up anyways. I mean, after all, what does it all matter? It has been 418 days since I last took a cab home from Avenue A in Alphabet City, following a night out dancing at the Pyramid Club. Since that late Saturday night, early Sunday morning, a 14-month quarantine predicated by the spread of a novel coronavirus epidemic has permanently closed the Pyramid and nearly killed late-night entertainment in the East Village. 418 days later, I jump in a cab and head down to Avenue A once again in search of a revival of the late entertainment in the East Village. Drome, an unassuming S&M B&D club below street level on Avenue A, is my new destination on the last Saturday in April. Inside, there's very little evidence of sadomasochist bondage and discipline action. Only clustered tables and chairs separated by clear plastic partitions secured between them by adjustable music stands. Welcome to the newest incarnation of the Temptations' Back to the 80s dance club with DJ Carino spinning the greatest hits of Duran Duran, INXS, Madonna, The Cure, Depeche Mode, and a variety of vintage Britpop synth artists from the decade of Rubik's Cube, Pac-Man, big hair, short skirts, and padded shoulders in women's clothing designs. Where would you like to be seated, Mike? Seated? More like a supper club than a dance hall. In fact, as these tables and chairs are arranged, there seems to be precious little floor space for dancing at all. Well, I need a wall or a pillar at my back to brace me in order to stand up and sit down. Maria, the proprietor and hostess, seated me at a table in the rear against the back wall. Do you have any sparkling mineral water? We have a big bottle of San Pellegrino. That'll be $10. $10! I mean, that's a fair price. Thank you. Thank you very much. DJ Q is spinning the greatest hits of the 80s, but nobody's dancing. Finally plays Dreams by the Cranberries, so Big Mike drags himself into a vertical position and starts dancing solo in the narrow aisle between tables. Followed by Wang Chung, Everybody Have Fun Tonight, still all alone on what passes for the club dance floor. Duran Duran, New Moon on Monday, the Long Island Girls, a group of middle-aged social school teachers from Syosset on a chicks' night out, get up to dance on the postage stamp-sized triangle of real estate between the DJ stage and their table pods. Big Mike squeezes between the clustered seating to join them, headbanging to the syncopated new wave bass beats, while the buxom, overweight suburban soccer moms jiggle their fleshy folds of fat, obscenely bouncing their ample cow-like breasts up and down against their rotund bellies and shook their curvaceous buttocks like a gaggle of Calpidian teen girls at a high school gym sock hop, right through the sets of Duran Duran, Planet Earth, shaking their big, juicy, bootylicious asses nonstop until the final chords of Culture Club, Church of the Poison Mind faded into the flickering lights of the stroboscopic disco balls flashes in the night's darkened dance floor. DJ Q follows up with a set by the late Michael Jackson, Black or White, Want to Be Starting Something, when suddenly, without warning, a shining little lithe sprite suddenly leaps inside the gyrating pod of the she-hippopotamus, interposing herself between their undulating corpulent mass and Big Mike. It's Parisian Babette, clad in a shimmering silver lame mini slip dress, fresh from her latest gallery exhibit at the Sorbonne in Paris. And can she ever dance, vibrating her slim, skeletal white shoulders to the funky R&B beats, and bending over backwards, arching her back, thrusting her petite pelvis right up in my face and jumping into my outstretched arms. I missed you so much. I missed you too. I'm in love with you, you know. All the boys are in love with me. Mike, the press have showed up. a photographer and videographer from the New York Times. I don't want them taking any pictures of people without masks on or any dancing too close together and not maintaining mandatory social distancing. I don't want any of that getting back to the New York State Health Department. They'll shut me down again. So I'm asking you to keep your mask on at all times and to dance just over here by your table as long as your reporters are still here, okay? Sure thing, no problem. The New York Times photographer and videographer continued to document the dancers, the partiers, and the spectators present at the newly resurrected Pyramid Club for their archives. One of the fat chicks waddled over to my table and dragged me out once more onto the tiny dance floor square in front of the main stage for George Michael's song Freedom 90 as I swung my mane of shoulder-length blonde hair. The New York Times photographer shot frame after frame of action pictures of my dancing to the blue-eyed soul of the late great artist known as George Michaels. Mike, would you mind if I gave the New York Times reporter your phone number? He wants to do a telephone interview with you. Sure, no problem. End of the night, stagger out to the front door. Got to somehow drag myself up that rickety steel step stair to the sidewalk of Avenue A. Do you need help? What you could do is spot me like you're my gymnastics coach. I'm swinging from the uneven parallel bars, attempting a particularly tricky dismount move. Just back me up in case I take a tumble down these stairs. Catch me if I fall. We got an elevator, you know. Really? Well, I'm already halfway up. Just stand behind me to break my fall if I tip over backwards. Thanks. No cabs. It's only 11, but there's not a single yellow taxi on all of Avenue A. It's as bad as the times of the early COVID-19 lockdown when cruising yellow cabs disappeared off the streets after 7 p.m. and I would have to head home from Union Square Park as soon as I heard the bandwagon crowd banging on their pots and pans in tribute to the frontline first responders. I find myself sitting at the M14A bus shelter on East 5th Street, waiting for a bus that will never arrive, when twirling guy from the old Pyramid Club suddenly appears walking up the avenue. Yeah, I was heading over to Drome just now myself. Yeah, I was just heading home, but as you can see, there's no cabs. Where do you live? West Village. Well, I can drop you home. Parked just down the block. Come on. He turns to head back down Avenue A. I wonder, sir, it would be too much to ask if you could go and pull your car up here. Oh, yeah, sure. What was I thinking? Wait here until I just pull my car up. Twirling guy was one of the weekly regulars at the Pyramid Club, always dancing atop one of those black modular wooden boxes at the periphery of the dance floor. He would pirouette and land on his Cuban heel ankle boots and a resounding thud, which would re-echo throughout the place. He was a notorious showstopper, all 200 pounds plus of him. Yeah, I tested positive for the coronavirus back in February of 2020, just the same time it first appeared in China. I lost my sense of taste, my sense of smell, all the classic symptoms. I got the antibodies now. I used to go back and forth between Niagara and Pyramid on the weekends. Niagara used to play Motown, 70s, and contemporary. They had a better music mix. Dancing is my heroin. Dance is the only physical activity I get these days with this arthritis. I wouldn't really call it exercise, but it's the only opportunity I get to move around. Usually, I have to take cabs everywhere. I applied for the disabled accessor ride, but the MTA decided I wasn't disabled enough to qualify. Not disabled enough, and you walking around on 2 canes? You know, I had that knee replacement surgery done on my knee. I couldn't take the pain anymore. This may look like a real knee, but it's an artificial knee. Strange. We've been seeing each other at the Pyramid for years, and this is the first time I think we ever talked. My name is David. I'm Big Mike. He dropped me off back at my place on 12th and 7th, and I shook his hand and thanked him. You're a lifesaver, man. And he drove off, heading back on his way to Alphabet City and Drone to continue his night out of dancing. FOMO, fear of missing out. My greatest fear during the great COVID-19 pandemic lockdown, besides contracting the novel coronavirus, was the fear that I was always missing out on something. An outlaw rave at an abandoned warehouse in East Williamsburg or Red Hook, an outdoor concert in Tompkins Square Park or on the Long Island City waterfront. The New York Times Sunday Magazine section of June 13th featured an article in the opening up of New York City, post-pandemic. A group of young photographers were sent out on assignment to find the rebirth of the city's social scene. One of these cameramen was sent to document the resurrection of the Pyramid Club at the night spot Drome on Avenue A. He took pictures, and one featuring Maria, the owner-proprietor, was printed on page 20 of the piece. No more fear of missing out now. I was right there at Party Central. And
1.
Look, take that other stuff back. It's yours. But that gum is mine. I swear on my grandmother, I got that gum at CVS. I bought it at CVS. Go ahead, scan it and see. I bought it at CVS. I just scanned it. It's ours. No, it's not. I bought it at CVS. 3 security guards are roughing up this toothless white teen with a mop of ratty, dirty blonde hair, reaching inside his filthy varsity jacket, pulling out a succession of items, and tossing him on the floor of the Union Square Duane Reade. Why are they harassing this guy over a pack of gum? Stop her! Stop her! Somebody stop her! She's running out with that shit without paying! This little rotund black manager chased a toothless black woman, charging towards the exit, carrying a dirty neon yellow duffel bag on his shoulder. I saw her. I just saw her. She just pushed by me, opened the refrigerator, and emptied all the Red Bulls into her bag. She's heading outside. Look, right there. There she goes. She just shoved me aside. Young man wearing a suit jacket, face covered by a paper surgical mask, points an accusing finger at the perpetrator outside. Somebody call the cops. Get that cop outside to come back in here to stop her. Miss, where the beer at? Toothless black man furtively scans the store with his flitting ferret eyes. I glance around. There must be about 20 toothless browsing customers with that same weasel-eyed look on their faces, scanning the aisles for produce to predate, roaming the floor of Duane Reade, all shoplifting various items from the store's shelves. But it's not really shoplifting at all. It's more like snatch and grab and dash for the door. They're all just shoving assorted products inside their soiled jackets and crusty shoulder bags. They're not even running, really. They're merely shoving past the security guards, ineffectually milling about the building's lobby. I slowly realize I'm the sole law-abiding consumer in the establishment, the only customer intent on buying what I see displayed in the pharmacy. The shelves are being emptied in front of me. I'm witnessing what might be the first food riot of the 2020 COVID-19 pandemic lockdown, a scene reminiscent of the mob run on the supermarket giant at the beginning of the zombie apocalypse film World War Z starring Brad Pitt. Good thing I don't drink Red Bull anymore. The rioters have stripped the refrigerator coolers clean of the product. Mind your own business, bitch. Some high-pitched woman's voice shrieks. Somebody stop her, stop her, stop her. The little rotund manager screams. 5 security guards continue to wrestle with the toothless blonde white teen in the grimy varsity jacket, trying to handcuff him, while looters continue to walk off with the store's remaining stock. Maybe this kid was supposed to, be the diversion. Keep the rent-a-cops busy while the rest of the scavengers strip the store clean like a pack of jackals tearing out a lion's fresh kill on the African Serengeti plains. It does certainly seem to have worked exceedingly well, if that was their plan. Quick, lock the door! Lock the front door! Only one person inside at a time. May I help you, sir? A particularly solicitous Asian retail associate inquires of me. No. Yeah, sure. Where are your planters' assorted nuts? Right this way, sir. Aisle 1. Will you need any assistance in your selection, sir? Yeah, I guess I will. It seems as though your deluxe, select, premium whole planters' cashews are all locked up. And well, they should be at these prices. $11.99 a can. What gives? Are they made out of gold or something? Just 1 minute, sir. I'll see if I can get the key from the manager, sir. He tries chasing down the now nearly hysterical little rotund floor manager, shrilly screaming, chasing the looting hyenas down the store's aisles and out the exit onto 14th Street. I think I'll just get the Planters mixed nuts on sale for today only with the Duane Reade store card. Minutes earlier, I had attempted to enter the Walgreens across Lafayette Street, pulling on their locked front door. My eye caught the retail associate inside behind the entrance's plate glass panel. Hey, there's a line here, you know. By God, there is a line. Snaking irregularly down 14th Street towards 3rd Avenue, everyone maintaining the authoritarian dictated 6 feet worth, of social distance. Retail sales associate, face covered by paper surgical mask, sticks his head out of the front door. Sorry, sir. There's a line. There's already 10 customer limit inside. We can't let any more than 20 customers inside at one time. I am unable to stand for any much longer than about 5 minutes at a time. Hey, there's a line here. Neither can I, sir. I can't stand very long either. Sorry. Yeah, but I'm disabled. Doesn't matter, sir. I still can't let you in. There's a line here. Sorry, sir. Sale associate relocks the front door behind me. Line's behind me, buddy. Apparently, Walgreens does not even make the most reasonable of accommodations for the disabled. Not even this pouring rain. There's a line, man. You know, you could have my place in this fucking line. I will take my business elsewhere, vote with my feet, and go across Lafayette Street to the Duane Reade and purchase my Planters Deluxe Premium Whole cashews there. And afterwards, when I have finally exited the Duane Reade, escaping the still continuing food riot inside, clutching my completely legally purchased, sale price with store card Planters mixed nuts, guaranteed less than 50% peanuts, firmly in hand, I noticed that particularly vociferous line maintainer walking in the rain, crossing Lafayette Street from the barricaded Walgreens in the company of the toothless homeless dude who had most recently been looting beer from the Duane Reade next door. I wish that non-accommodating sales associate at Walgreens the best of luck.